What's up? Welcome back into Hook and Batter Podcast, Episode 5. Boys, Texas is back. Or are they?
No.
I don't know. I think they are.
Fine. Buy or sell. Texas is a national title contender.
Oh, that
I'm
was
buying
quick.
it. Yeah, I'm buying it.
I'm buying it. I'm buying it. I don't. No.
Like, right. I won't say that they're they're guaranteed to make the playoff, but they're definitely in contention. Are they not the favorites in the Big 12 right now?
They definitely
They
are.
definitely are, yeah.
And when looking at their schedule today, I saw that they get Oklahoma, K-State, and Texas Tech all at home. So that's
wow.
a huge, huge help for their schedule down the road.
Yeah.
They went into Alabama, and kind of like we talked about last week, they just weren't afraid.
Yeah.
And it might be more about Alabama has some limitations at quarterback potentially. I understand, but
he looked bad.
Yeah,
like-
nowhere
yeah.
looked really bad. That might be it. I might just not be happy about Alabama losing. I took them multiple times.
I bet Texas before the game, and I told you about it.
It's on me.
I wasn't going to touch Texas. I'm surprised they won, but they look good.
They
look
did
really
Yeah,
good.
and Ewers is real. Quinn Ewers is definitely a real deal college quarterback. I think he has a shot at NFL in his future, like being like a top pick when he eventually comes out. But it was impressive. I mean, it got close there early in the fourth quarter, but once they sort of took over that lead, and they just never gave it back. But yeah, I have Oklahoma 66-1 to win the whole thing. Obviously, they would probably have to win the Big 12, so it's not great news for that.
Yeah.
But the rest of the Big 12 doesn't look great. Their schedule isn't difficult. Like I said, the three biggest games look to be at home. They're probably going to do something stupid when they go to Houston or something. But
yeah,
as
they
of
are
right,
Texas.
they are Texas, and we think they're back every single year. But that was impressive. They probably should have won last year if Ewers didn't get hurt, and maybe they just have Alabama's number.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have a bad taste in my mouth right now just because of losing money, obviously. But it would be cool to see them get there.
I agree. I think that's like having those big brands, but not the Alabamas, Ohio States necessarily.
Yeah.
It would be really fun for college football.
It's true.
Especially in the last year of the 14 playoff. When it gets to 12, it's probably going to be just all big brands. But last year, the 14 playoff, it'd be fun to see some different colors get in there.
I am loving the clips that are coming out of college football. Like, Pat McAfee was there on the sideline for that game.
Oh, yeah.
And he had, like, Matthew McConaughey on the field. They were throwing up the horns. It was sick.
Yeah. Horns down is electric. It was funny. They tried to penalize it that one year, but it's one of my favorite disrespect ones. But yeah, other than that in college football, I mean, there was some other okay games. This week kind of sucks. Next week's going to be awesome. So just,
right.
prepare yourselves. Get through this week. Next week's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I legit think if you just didn't watch any college football this weekend, it wouldn't affect your knowledge of college football this year. You could literally skip through this week and you'll miss nothing. I'm so serious.
I have a different take. I think this week is upset week.
Really?
The slate looks bad, right? I don't even think there's a single top 25 versus top 25 matchup.
Ooh.
There's a lot of teams playing like FCS or like MAC schools. But a lot of those teams have big games next week, and they could be your classic look-ahead spots for a few teams that, you look at Colorado, and I think we'll talk about them here next since they're probably the second biggest story coming out of the weekend. But Colorado this weekend, I think, is playing Colorado State at home again. The next 2 weeks, they have Oregon and USC.
Yeah.
Again, like we talked about last week, I did not jump in front of the Colorado train. I did not bet Nebraska. But, Colorado started really slow. And that could happen again this week. And if there's a team if Colorado State has a quarterback that can, complete any passes, they could find themselves down and all of a sudden be in trouble when they're, maybe thinking ahead to these big matchups against Oregon and USC.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
So you're seeing his look-ahead spot for Colorado?
Big time, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At least it's like one of those in-state games.
It is, yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
That helps.
So I
and they
wouldn't
get
say
it
it's
at
a
home.
full-on
Yeah.
look-ahead where you're not caring about this game at all.
Absolutely.
It's probably a big deal to some people, at least.
It's definitely going to be a big deal at Colorado State.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
true,
They're
too.
gonna
Because, Deion's making the other school in your state look so much better, and everyone's like forgotten about Colorado State. They're going to want to stand up and play and win.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'll go there. Like I said, I'm pretty terrified of betting against Colorado right now. But
As he should be.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. They did start really slow, and I do think if Nebraska had like an ounce of talent on offense, that game could have gone differently. But once they got it together, they put their foot on the gas and never looked back.
Oh, we got minus 23.
Yeah, it's. I don't know much about. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know much about Colorado State, but it's just a classic spot that you would look at and say, okay, I can definitely see how this game is like tight in the fourth quarter
For sure.
And some
10 p.m.
Yeah, Pac-12 after dark, baby.
I kind of love it though.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah,
nice.
me too.
It's a good. It's like the icing on the cake for college
football. I'll be at Orioles Rays on Saturday too, so I'll get to come home and maybe watch a little Colorado State, see what happens. But that's the case for a few different teams. So Notre Dame goes down to NC State. They win this past week. In like a lightning delayed game. That game was just super weird. NC State had a shot at one point, and then I think they turned it over, or they missed a kick that would have made it a one possession game, and then Notre Dame poured it on. But Notre Dame plays Central Michigan this week, but they go to Ohio State, have Ohio State at home next week. So another one of those tricky spots where Notre Dame could potentially be caught looking forward to Ohio State. Ole Miss goes to Bama next week. They beat Tulane. They go down to Tulane this week, beat Tulane in the other sort of big game. Tulane didn't have their starting quarterback, which was news to a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
But
they played pretty well, though.
They did.
The final score is like really misleading.
Is that why that line was so crazy?
Yeah,
you guys got it?
We got it after Ole Miss scored their first touchdown, and
they went right down the field and scored.
I was like, oh my God, it's 17 and a half. It started at 7. Apparently it closed at like 13 because the quarterback news came out like right before kickoff.
I'll do it.
So that sucks for Tulane. They had a real shot. They were winning for most of the first half. If they had their starter, it might have gone differently, and that could have been a huge win for them.
Which stinks. We did winners and losers last week. The biggest loser was definitely Tulane.
Yeah, I mean, they're done.
Because if they
Alabama.
if they
they're not dead.
They're not dead. Right. They're not dead.
Tulane's
They're not dead.
That's that's the thing.
Right.
So.
Alabama doesn't look like a top 14, but
and you love your Tulane.
I did, man. I love the green wave. I feel so bad, man. I think we all want the underdog.
Absolutely.
We all were rooting for Tulane in that game.
Absolutely.
And their defense actually played really well. It's such a shame, that their offense wasn't able to get it done.
I think Ole Miss scored in the very first minute, and then the rest of the first half, they did nothing.
Yeah, right. It looked like, wow, Tulane's going to win this game.
Yeah.
But it just all felt like most games, the theme in college football this year seems fourth quarters. Teams are just pulling away.
And speaking of the fourth quarters, Utah comes back against Baylor, gets a win without Cam Rising again. Looked like Baylor was gonna defeat them. I think Utah scored like 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes. Was pretty rough for those that had 7. They push instead.
Worse
of
for
win.
6.5.
Yeah. I mean, look, I told you on the show last week there were some teams in some spots that I think were nice. Baylor should have gotten home. They don't. One that I didn't take, but I definitely mentioned. There was a disgusting beat in the Texas Tech game.
Oh yeah, there was. Yes, there was.
Texas Tech was up.
I was a beneficiary of that beat, actually.
Texas Tech was up 30-24. Oregon scores, and then Texas Tech throws a pick 6.
Yeah, and the guy, like, he should not have returned it because it's if he takes it back, they won by 8.
Yeah.
So if he returns it all the way, well, they get the ball back. They could still tie the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, go down.
No,
what are you doing? Killer.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
That was bad.
Only other thing, North Carolina and Appalachian State should play every year. I'm pretty sure North Carolina will never schedule them again whenever this contract runs out. But that game is just always amazing.
That's crazy.
Double overtime, 70-something total points, always fireworks. It was great last year. I can't imagine Mac Brown's going to be calling App State to schedule these games anymore, but they should because they're a lot of fun.
Now, that is also an in-state game.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is it really? I thought App State was
I
in
had to
Virginia.
look it up.
No, that's in Boone, North Carolina.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So they're probably feisty about that one.
Oh, yeah.
That explains it.
Oh, yeah.
21-point favorites in that game?
Roughly.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
I got down to 14. I'm like, they'll cover 14.
2 overtimes later, not so nice.
Nope.
Oh, man. Go ahead.
College game day. They were there last year, weren't they? They were at App State.
They went to App State after they beat UNC because App State started like 3-0, and they went to App State against some team, and that was the game that absolutely should have lost, and they had the walk-off like Hail Mary.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah, man.
Well, they're 2-0 right now, right?
Well, they lost.
Did they lose? Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah, not great. So yeah, this only other thing I was going to mention was Iowa wins Cyhawk. They beat rival Iowa State. It's just way too early for rivalry games, but I digress. Iowa, I think, actually has a good shot to win that side of the Big Ten. Wisconsin went down to Washington State and didn't look great. They fought, which was nice to see. I think they have better days ahead, especially first-year coach. But Iowa's defense is obviously legit, and I think their offense will be okay. It's obviously not good, but other than that, this week, like we said, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Just get through it. Big games are like Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, and then Iowa goes to Penn State. We'll really see what Iowa has. But, just get through this week. Next week, you'll be treated to a plethora of massive games with massive implications.
I'd also like to apologize. Last week on the show, I said that Clemson, Florida State was this week. It's next week.
Yeah,
sorry,
next
everybody.
week. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of games next week that will be a lot more fun to talk about. But yeah, just enjoy your Saturday this week.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
You know what didn't happen this Saturday, which I was very disappointed about. I've been getting into watching Premier League on Saturday mornings. And they're on a national break. So yeah, there was no Premier League, but there is this week. So
okay,
waking up at like 9 a.m. is starting to be a trend.
Is Messi playing for Inter Miami tonight?
No.
That sucks.
He's out for, it was supposed to be 2 games, possibly a third later, but they're winning without him.
How far back are they now?
They're getting close.
6.
Yeah, they're
6
getting
points.
close.
But they don't play any of the teams that are like in that bracket to where they can move up to. So that's a little.
I mean, the cash out option is looking pretty nice right now.
Mine's on Bet Rivers, and they're not offering me anything.
I only put $5 on it at like 50 to 1. I got it a little late, but they're offering me like $40. And they're still the second to worst team in the Eastern Conference, whatever they call it in the MLS.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of fun to track now.
Messi's a little hurt too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
He felt something in the last game. Whatever that means.
He's just messing with everybody.
Probably. He might not play international.
That'd be helpful, kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe just go back to Miami. Go play.
Yes. That's what they said. They were like, this might help. He might be able to move back quick. But I'm sure he's not playing this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they still win.
Yeah.
Get that cash out up. We're going to talk NFL in a little bit. I think we have a lot to say about the week that was bad. But let's get into just a quick little MLB since we didn't touch on it last week. I love MLB. I love this time of year, so I like to talk about it a little bit. And especially being very topical, like I said, I'll be at Orioles-Rays on Saturday. Orioles-Rays have a huge 4-game set that starts tomorrow as we record on Wednesday. So right now the Rays already won today. Orioles are playing right now, so it's a 2.5 game lead in the AL East for the Orioles. If the Orioles just win 1, they secure the tiebreaker for the season, which will be a big deal down the stretch. But this series will really decide who's going to come out of the AL East. If it's a 2 or 3 game lead, for it can't be less than 2. If it's 3 for the Orioles, if they just split, it'll be 3 games up with like 13 left plus the tiebreaker.
Right. It's pretty crucial.
I
mean, if you're the Rays, you got to win 3 or 4, if not sweep.
If they sweep, I mean, it's over. I would truly say, like, and I don't really get how the Rays keep doing this. Like, if you're a Rays fan out there, I'd love to hear from you, because when we text every night, like, Orioles are winning. They've been awesome their last like 30 games, right? And then the Rays do the same thing. It's just been ever since the Orioles left Tampa in like July or whenever we took the lead for the division.
Yep.
It's just been, the lead has just been between 2 and 4 for like 2 months, and it's just been infuriating, like winning 2/3 of our games and just not making any progress. So I'd love to hear from Rays fans if like you guys feel the same way, because I'm sure you do, where you're winning just as much and you're like, how have we not made up like any ground?
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this, but I think the Orioles and Rays have separated themselves from the rest of the AL.
Absolutely.
Like, I still believe Houston. It's kind of like they won the pennant last year, so it's hard for me to count them out.
Right.
But the Orioles and Rays are just on another level.
At least in the regular season, I think I think playoffs will be interesting because teams will get to set their rotations and things of that nature.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, whoever wins the AL East is going to be the 1 seed, and whoever loses is going to be the first wild card, which is comforting to know that in all likelihood, playoff baseball will come back to Camden Yards almost no matter what.
Right.
But yeah, it really is crazy to look, and the Orioles are like 10 games up on Houston, and like 12 up on the Mariners or whatever.
All those teams, and everything changes in October, right?
And 30 up on Minnesota. But
let's
not talk about the Central.
Jeez, but like I can actually feel, and I'll do a little knock on wood, obviously, but I feel really confident about the Orioles and the Rays taking on any other team in the AL. Like I feel pretty confident about that. I'm not saying they couldn't steal the series, but I wouldn't look at it as like, oh no, like we're playing these teams. Like they've all been so scuffly recently. It's hard for me to get totally behind.
I agree.
Except for the Astros.
Yeah,
I take the Astros with a grain of salt because they've been there,
Yeah.
And they're kind of hot, right? They're getting better as the season goes on.
I really hate going to other ballparks, and I'm sure people say this about Camden, but I hate going to other ballparks and them having like a stupid quirk about their stadium, like
center field.
Well, not even. Well, they used to have the center field. That was. They should bring it back. But them having like no other stadium has the left field fence that close, like so where right-handers can just hit pop flies and hit home runs. So like that always bugs me. Like going to Houston, like it bothers me when we go to New York, 7 times a year now, and left-handers hit a easy like can of corn fly ball and it's in the seats. Yeah. Like that just adds like an extra layer of like almost like luck to it, where it's like you're not really hitting like these massive home runs or like hitting with huge exit velocity. You're kind of just like sneaking some balls out, and they obviously have a lineup full of guys that can do it. So like they definitely scare me. Yeah. I think everyone scares me, but I agree to your point. Like they also don't like. I'm not like petrified. Like I'm just
right.
Whoever we line up against, whoever the Rays line up against, I'll just be like, yeah, it'll probably be a good series. Like,
right. Like I don't want to play the Rays. That I do not want to play them in the playoffs.
Sure.
I would take any other team easily over them. But, as an Orioles fan. Every other team, I just feel like I don't know. I mean, and I'm done. I'm not saying anything else because it's going to be bad karma. But like the Blue Jays, I feel like.
Well, I and this goes to like the NFL saying of like you can't beat a team 3 times in a season.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's very false. I'm pretty sure the teams win like 70% of the time when they've won the first 2. But going into the series, you're like, okay, like in the Orioles case this year, they're 10-3 against the Blue Jays, and you're just like going into the series, you're so much more nervous because you're like, okay, we dominated the season series, but it's going to look really bad if we lose in the playoffs. Like, it's going to be all for naught. But to your point about playing the Rays, I mean, because the MLB doesn't reseed
Oh, you're saying we can't? Or it'd have to be in the DS, the LDS?
It would, right? The 3 versus the 4 and the 2 versus the 5. Yeah.
Wow.
So the 1 gets the bye, and assuming... No, I'm wrong. There's 6 now. I'm wrong.
Yes.
Now I can't remember.
What?
I gotta like draw it out.
I believe you. Whichever way you go, I believe.
Never mind. Forget I said it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And you figure that out, Andrew. We'll keep talking.
Yeah, we'll talk about like you said about the AL West or like the other teams in the race.
Right.
No one seems to like won it. Like the Mariners are like 3-7 over
their
last
like
10.
It's a limp to the finish in the AL West, and I just am the Blue Jays. I'm just not.
And for the Blue Jays, they finally have it all set up where no one's talking about them. They kind of they're kind of flying under the radar. They got through this easy part of their schedule and got back into the wild card, right? Like they were in the playoffs. Come to the series against Texas and drop the first 2. They're playing the 3rd game right now. Texas has jumped them for the moment. Blue Jays, if they win tonight, jump back in by a half a game. But they had a real chance to just fly under the radar and just like kind of sneak in and like that they could like tell themselves like no one believes in us. But they get to the series where they play a real team and it's just they fall.
Yeah.
So it is quite the limp to a finish for a lot of like teams that are supposed to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like the Astros will win the West. Texas obviously has the injury now to Scherzer. He's done for the year. Won't pitch in the postseason, they say. I think Adolis got hurt. I think their season kind of changed when Josh Young got hurt.
Yeah.
So I do feel bad for them, but they also pissed me off with all the things they did at the deadline. Yeah. And they kind of got the karma for going and getting Aroldis, and he's blowing like 6 saves. So.
Yeah.
Did you figure out how it works? Because my head.
I assume the 1 would play the winner of the 4-5, right? Because that's how the NCAA.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the 2 plays the winner of the 3-6.
Right. Okay, so I was right.
So
the
Rays would be 3.
The Rays would be 1.
If we're 1, either way.
Yeah. The winner of the AL East will be 1, and the loser will be 4.
So we don't see him until the ALCS.
No, it would be the ALDS. The first wildcard team would be the 4 seed. So.
Yep. Okay.
If whoever loses the AL East will be the 4 seed, and will get the wildcard series at home, assuming they hold serve. It just sets up for another collision in the ALDS.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I mean, both those teams not being able to get to the ALCS and play each other.
Because they both might win 100 games.
That stinks.
Yeah.
Also, so you want to be the 6th seed sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God,
that's not good. That's not good.
The MLB really needs to figure out if they really need to start reseeding, and like NFL does, because with the way the Central is, and it's been like this for a while. Like the Central has just not sent anyone to like the World Series in how long? Yeah. The White Sox in like 10 maybe?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think 2006.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Even longer.
So they need to the Tigers. The Tigers went.
The Tigers went in 2012, and then Cleveland. Cleveland went in 2016.
Oh, that's right. They did.
But
whatever.
Yeah. Still the least successful. I would say of all the divisions, the least successful.
There's got to be one.
Yeah. So and if you're Toronto, if you can or Texas, whoever it is, lose the last couple games after you're already guaranteed, you'd much rather go to Minnesota than Tampa or Baltimore, in my opinion. But in the NL side of things, it seems like the wild card race is sort of taking hold at this point. Seems like the divisions are kind of wrapped up and done with. The Brewers are playing awesome. Obviously, I think the Braves can clinch their division tonight, which is insane.
That's crazy. And then the Phillies aren't bad.
Yeah.
Wow. And the Dodgers.
And then the Dodgers obviously way out ahead. NL wild card, Phillies look like they're going to be the top seed. Cubs are slotted in at the 2. They're not playing great right now, but neither is anyone in the NL. Mm-hmm. And then the Reds, Giants, Marlins all are within 1.5 of the Diamondbacks at the moment. I hope it's the Diamondbacks. They're a lot of fun to watch. Yeah. They have a chance against Milwaukee, I think. I think Milwaukee sets up really nicely, especially with their pitching staff. But I think the Diamondbacks are the only team that I would trust to maybe make that a little bit of a series.
Yeah.
My only buy or sell here is, do you buy that the Phillies could knock off Atlanta again?
It's hard to say they can't.
I know
it's hard to say they can't.
They are chaotic.
Yeah, right.
The Phillies have a lineup that can really beat anybody. Yeah, they have that talent.
Yeah,
so right.
That's the thing. It seems like a lot of it seems like every game I'm on Twitter and they're down by 3, and then Harper hits a 3-run home run.
Yeah,
it's the Phillies they're back again. It's dude, they did it last year, but. I mean, the Braves have been so good.
It almost feels like the Braves have been better this year than they were last year.
I think they have.
I think they're pretty good.
Matt Olson has 130 RBIs.
They look pretty unstoppable.
Yeah. They do, yeah.
But the Phillies are a team who can beat anybody, too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's been a fun series. That's been going on this week, too. Phillies, Braves, which it's just been chaotic energy all over the place.
I'll buy it. But in the same way that I think, Toronto could beat the Rays.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not totally selling it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Fair enough.
How do we feel? So a couple weeks back we asked World Series picks and stuff. Are you still on the Braves, I'd imagine?
I think you have to be.
Yeah.
Kershaw's velo is down right now, and he's obviously never been great in the playoffs as it is. So from that perspective, I think the Dodgers kind of scare me, the pitching side of it. Obviously, they lose Julio Urias to another domestic violence situation, which I don't get how he was back in the league in the first place. Does it again. It sounds awful. Yeah. I won't speculate any further, but from the pitching side, the Dodgers just lose too much there.
Will they be the 1-2?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. If that comes, that'll be a fun series.
Definitely.
That would be a fun series.
Because with Mookie and Freddie, you got guys that can really flip a game. And the Braves pitching hasn't been great. Seriously, the Cardinals, like last week, Strider, I don't get it. Like, guy can strike everybody out, but he gives up runs at like a pretty crazy clip right now.
His ERA was not. I was looking to line say his ERA just wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, he's been giving up quite a bit of runs lately. So like, you could definitely catch them where their pitching isn't great. But the lineup is just unreal.
Yeah,
and the Dodgers bullpen has been an issue all year too.
Well, exactly. True. Big hitting games, guys who can hit.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. That's for sure. And there's always something I like about having an East Coast team and a West Coast team in a series. Like, it just feels fun, like having the different dynamics.
True.
But I it's got to be the Braves. If it's not the Braves, if the Phillies could knock them off, they're the only wild card team that could do it.
That's fair.
Unless the Brewers continue to get these unreal pitching performances, which they can. Their top three starters are really, really good.
Yeah.
But they would have to be on another level to take a 7-game series from the Braves.
Yeah. I don't see it.
Yeah. What about you? You think it's still the Braves?
Well, I had the Dodgers, but the Braves have been so good.
Like
so
one of the two.
Yes, I do think it's one of the two. The Brewers have played a lot better.
Yeah.
And I guess I can't count out the Phillies, but I think Dodgers Braves are the class. Like, kind of like in the AL. It's weird. Like, kind of the reason I asked this is, like, in the AL, it's Orioles Rays. I think we can all agree. And in the NL for a long time, it was Dodgers Braves.
Yeah.
But I kind of think the gap is actually closed in the NL a little more than the AL.
Well, who else is there?
I disagree.
Really?
I think you can throw all the AL teams in a pod and you get a different winner 10 straight years.
Really?
I think in the NL, the Braves and the Dodgers win it 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
You said there's the Brewers,
Phillies, Cubs, and D-backs.
Right. So Brewers, Phillies. But I would say, like, Brewers, Phillies is like kind of that Astros territory. You know, everyone else, it's like, I think if it's just in the AL, everyone's like, ugh, I don't know. Whereas at one point in the season, all those teams were like, wow, geez, they're really good. They're all now like, I don't even know what to make of them.
That's true. That's true. I get what you're saying.
Like, the Phillies have been the clear-cut wild card team in the NL for like a while. It's been a long time now.
I look at the AL like the AFC and NFL right now. Like, you sort of have like a bunch of teams that maybe aren't performing like you want them to, and then the NFC is like, you got two clear teams. If it's not them, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I guess I'll lean Braves. I guess I'll switch. Whatever.
You don't have to. Don't give in to peer pressure.
No, I'll do it. It's a smart choice.
All right. Cool. Do you want to do halftime? Yeah. All right.
It is not just creme brulee, though. It's Oreo creme brulee.
Oh.
That's not burnt. You see, that's Oreo.
I thought there was a flame.
But she definitely did.
Yeah, no, she did the torch. So my wife Megan made this. Spoiler alert, she did give me one.
Oh, boo. That's not cool.
And she definitely pandered to the crowd because I love creme brulee. I think it's my favorite dessert. And then she's like, oh, everyone else loves Oreo, so.
Wow.
Very nice.
So I've never had it. And I'm a big texture guy, so I'm a little concerned about it, but I'm also very excited.
Just crack the top a little bit. Okay, it's like the sugar.
Okay.
And then.
Oh, now I can just go.
Scoop.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Do you hate it?
Wow, this is awesome. It's kind of weird though, having it cold. Usually, I'm used to like.
I did ask her. I was like, "Is it supposed to be cold like that?" And she said yes.
Oh,
I think it might have been in the fridge a little too long for what it's supposed to be, but
wow,
like it's supposed to be a little more of a on top, but it's still really good.
I mean, that's crazy.
Has she made this before?
What are you doing?
Dude, I don't know. You told me to crack it, and now I'm just like kind of mushing it around. I don't know.
So I'm so sorry.
I get the insides with, and I take one of the pieces of.
Yeah, so you're supposed to like crack it around, but then maybe not. I don't know. That's how my burrito bowls from Chipotle.
What?
I don't mix my burrito bowls up.
Yeah. So you do what I'm doing now.
Yes, I do what you do with creme brulee.
I respect it. I mean, I'm speechless. Like, this is really good. This is the best dessert we've had here, I think.
I looked at her, and I may give it again. It's a 9.6.
Oh,
yeah. I was like tempted. Like, is this a 10? Like, does this get better?
I don't know if there is.
I'm not sure if it gets better.
I know.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know, but I'm such a sucker for creme brulee. I love creme brulee.
Well, let's talk about how's the texture. Be honest. We should be honest. We should start to be honest. As like
it. I didn't know what I was.
Like, I'm saying like get like critical.
Oh, like I didn't know what. So like part of what I'm doing, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was gonna be so creamy.
Right. Yeah.
Like I thought. I don't know. Like I thought it was gonna be more granular because I genuinely have no idea what it is.
True. It's just custard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never ordered it from a restaurant. Right? I think I've had creme brulee cheesecake, but like that doesn't get you like what it actually is.
So, of course, the minute I start talking it up, the bottom I could have done a little without. It's not as hard as I'd like on the bottom. What should she put like a layer?
There isn't supposed to be anything on the bottom.
Really? So maybe I just got pieces of the Oreo.
Yeah, I think she put extra to make sure it's like Oreo creme brulee.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, there's not supposed to be anything on the bottom.
Okay.
No like cheesecake bottom or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing I could have done without. Because it looks like for me, like there's a layer of Oreo on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think she just did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is very good. I still think the Chipwiches are better for me.
Chipwiches are pretty good.
For me personally. But I also didn't know what to expect here, so like that could be definitely playing into it.
Yeah, this is definitely this is up there, bro. Yeah, I wish you hadn't said 9.6 because I probably would have said 9.6. But to be different, I will say 9.5, 9.5. This is
going to sound so low.
It's fine.
I'm going 8.4.
That's still a good score.
Yeah, really good score. I wish I would have went first because I just sound like the worst person. But like,
no,
it's very good.
Producer Alex,
9.4.
Oh, now, would you consider creme brulee at a restaurant?
What do you mean?
Like having this, like you have a dessert menu in front of you. Would you consider it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
for sure. Big fan.
I think it's in Italian restaurants too, if I'm not wrong. Like they do creme brulee.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know what it's a staple for. Just fancy, right?
I think it's French.
Oh,
sounds French.
It does.
Especially the custard part. They love custard. French. Wow, that's crazy.
And these cute little ramekins.
So
yeah, where'd you get? Oh,
$60.
These are
for a fork.
I thought you stole them. Not gonna lie to you.
Oh wow, really?
Like from a restaurant.
Where?
Throw them in the bag.
Don't act like you haven't done it.
The one thing I've stolen is a spoon from Friendly's, a super long one. I went back and gave it back.
Wow. That's bold.
I was a kid. My mom made me.
Oh, okay.
It was embarrassing.
Oh, so you like accidentally took it?
No.
Oh.
No, I was like, this is a cool spoon here.
Wow. So let me ask you something. This is the third time I've ever had creme brulee. It's the third time in my life.
Okay.
So maybe that's contributing to why I like it so much. How many times have you had creme brulee? Because if your wife is just making this shit.
No, she actually has made it before. She's made it once before.
Okay.
I haven't had it in years. It's probably been like 3 years.
Wow. Yeah.
But I probably had like 10 to 20 in my life.
If you order creme brulee at a restaurant, though, what else? Is there nothing else in it? Like
no, there won't be that Oreo. It'll just be custard and the sugar on top.
Coating on top.
I think the Oreo really helps.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
The Oreo does give it a nice zest, I'd say though.
But it's also like I do just like regular creme brulee.
Yeah.
Like I think I'd have to be in the mood for Oreo, which I was. So
that was really good. I'm not a huge Oreo guy. Not gonna lie. Like a regular Oreo,
yeah,
I'm out.
What?
I'd rather have a chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
Or like I'd rather have a sugary cookie. I don't like them that much either, but I don't like Oreos that much. I like the filling in the inside. I'm that guy I was the kid who would take the two cookies apart and then just eat the icing. That was me.
Yeah, but you're right. When it comes to the texture, the reason it's not a 10 for me is because of the Oreo almost.
Yeah,
I love the taste of it, but the texture.
Right. It doesn't. If it was hard, if there was some way it could have been a little tougher and not so
mushy.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
But that was good. That was so good.
We have to talk about the NFL. And did you guys enjoy preseason week 4? Because that's what I think it was.
That's so funny.
It was really sad, especially from our betting perspective. I hate to talk about betting right away, but no touchdowns really hurt.
Yeah. I mean, the games were bad. It was fun. It was football.
It was wet.
There were some games affected by some weather. I understand. Yep. But it started Thursday night. I mean, neither team looked good. That game did not change my opinion about the Lions being a little overhyped. Good for them. They won the game, and but they didn't do anything that was yeah, man. Dan Campbell going for the fake punt in his own territory, but then punting from the 45 on 4th and 5. That really grinds my gears. If you're playing to win, then go play to win.
Then play it right.
And they really didn't, and they got bailed out that the Chiefs receivers couldn't catch anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's another part of it. Because of that, because of Kelsey being out, it never really felt like they deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was more of a Kansas City loss than a Detroit win.
Yeah.
I mean, literally one player dropping 2 passes cost them at least 10 points.
Right.
So that it just, I don't know.
And they could have played the whole game horribly like they did. And then if Tony catches that ball at the end, they're in field goal range.
Yeah.
Also, Mahomes' passing yards would have covered too.
Yeah, that's also true. No. Would have been nice, Kadarius.
Literally.
Yeah. That's crazy.
No bonus bets.
Yeah.
None of the boosts.
None of them. That's crazy.
None of them hit except for the Ravens one, which was the home one. So
right, which everyone probably got in their local market.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. So that that was fine.
I will say though, I thought they were going to get steamrolled. I didn't think their offense would play nearly as well as it did, and their defense played better than I thought it would. So I'll give them credit. I'll apologize to Detroit. I was pretty rough on them.
You were, but you also talked about Aiden Hutchinson being really the best defensive player, which was a little hyperbole, but he was really good.
Yeah.
You're right. Their defense did play well. Their offense technically only scored 14 points. I'm not really going to give them a ton of credit for doing that.
They ran the ball pretty well.
They did.
We knew that about them.
You knew that they could do that.
Amon-Ra's good, but who else? And Reynolds made that great play.
And that's my big takeaway was that they right now without Jameson Williams, and obviously we can't count on him because his career is off to just the worst start you could ever have. He's out for another 5 weeks. Without him, you have no one that can catch that really threatening guys 15 yards down the field. So it was almost like every drive had to go exactly to script for them to get down the field.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were in the red zone. They turned it over. So they had another opportunity. But again, the drive stalls because of a sack, I think. So then it was 3rd and 17, and then the fumble happened. So it was once it got a little off track, they had no way of getting those yards back.
Right.
But that's also, especially Dan Campbell, just the way he coaches. That's how it's going to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it can go really well because you can possess the ball and you won't give the other team the ball. And from that perspective, you could be that's awesome. We can put together these drives. I thought it would be a little bit more high powered and in games where they need it. I just don't know if they have it right now. Maybe Jameson's the answer in a few weeks, but
I think they could do very similar to what the Vikings did last year. They're that team that wins those close games.
And that was my my thought as well. I think we could be looking at them as oh my God, they're 10-4. They've won 8 one-score games. It's maybe this isn't really real.
Yeah,
but no one will really say it because Detroit kind of gets crapped on a lot. So we're just gonna be happy for them.
Exactly.
And look, I am happy for them. Right. I'm happy the Chiefs already have a loss.
It's
that's
cool.
It's all good things. But yeah, my opinion just didn't really change from that game.
People are also really upset about Jahmyr Gibbs. Really upset about him not playing.
He'll get more touches.
Right. They were playing really conservative, I think. They just wanted David Montgomery
and there's also a reason they got David Montgomery. They want they want the between the guy the between the tackle runner that gets you 4 yards. What I was thinking the whole game is it's David Montgomery's are classic. If you need 3 yards, he'll get you 4. If you need 6 yards, he'll get you 4. So, but they want him, and they want Jahmyr to do the other stuff. So,
right.
I agree.
It's almost like a Zeke Pollard situation, I think.
Yes.
Moving into Sunday, again, not a lot of fun games going on. The quarterbacks all were bad for the most part, except for the one game with Tua versus Herbert, which was fun.
Yeah.
But we'll start in the 1 o'clock slate. Browns are the Bengals' daddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when in Cleveland.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Burrow misses another offseason. And again, they lose week 1. It's sort of becoming routine at this point, which I guess if your quarterback's going to get hurt, you'd rather it be in the offseason, and it doesn't really affect them going down the road, especially when you consider Cleveland beats them in Cleveland all the time anyway. So it's like this game will not matter in 3-4 months, which is sort of the take I'm trying to have for the whole NFL, being like, okay, week 1 happened. Teams didn't look like I thought they would, but like in 3 weeks, it might not matter. So I'm trying not to overreact. But on the Bengals side of it, obviously the offense was bad. Burrow missed some throws. Their offensive line looked really bad.
What happened? What happened with T. Higgins in those 8 drops? He had 8 targets and no catches. Is it his fault? Was it Burrow's fault? I didn't see, obviously.
I think it's a lot. It's a combination of factors, right?
So I was raining the whole game.
Right. So it was crap weather. Yeah.
Their offensive line was getting beat like a drum. I mean, Myles Garrett was out there crossing the center out before the snap. Like, that was an awesome clip. But
so good.
So like he didn't have time to throw, and then I think some of those targets were more just like in his vicinity. They weren't really like
it's like getting pressure, bad throw. Okay.
Yeah.
But 88 yards is really low.
That's really low. And you also like Cleveland. They really always like Cleveland. Cincinnati is like they're like it's a pretty big rivalry for them. You know, like they're in Ohio. They're both separate. You know, in the same division and everything. So I think Cleveland was really motivated. You know, like I think also Cleveland. You're thinking about it from the standpoint like everyone's saying, okay, Watson's washed up. Like you aren't going to do anything this year. They aren't thinking that. They're like, we're good. You know, we're ready to go now, and they're really talented.
Sure.
Cleveland is a really talented team.
The problem is Watson still didn't look good.
Right. Yeah.
The issue is Watson still has serious limitations right now. It looks exactly like it did last year, where his passing numbers are like pretty bad. He's a willing runner right now, which is helping. Right? He scores the rushing touchdown that's helping them move the ball. Nick Chubb obviously over 100 yards. You know, great.
Quietly somehow.
Yeah, exactly. But man, he does not. He missed a lot of throws.
Yeah. He throws it so hard.
For
no reason.
He does.
He doesn't know what a touch pass is.
No, he missed a lot. Like that game should have been way more lopsided.
Yeah.
But in that respect, I think like I can draw some more conclusions because we did see it last year, and it, like I said, it looks the exact same. Like the line looks the same. The way he misses throws looks the same. Maybe another 6 or 7 weeks of playing real football will help, but right now, I mean, if you're Cleveland, you've got to be sitting there just like, here we go again. Like, great defense, great running game, but not going to be able to make the throws when you need to.
Playing defense and running the ball is going to be their bread and butter all season. If they're going to take the next step, they definitely got to get better quarterback play.
Oh yeah, any rain game?
Yeah,
any rain game, and they they got a good chance of winning.
Absolutely. The other big takeaway I had from week 1 was regression is here and it is real, and all the teams that were sort of slated for negative regression, it happened right away.
Yeah,
the Vikings, the Giants, and I am missing a third that I wanted to talk about, and I am trying to...
The Titans?
The Seahawks.
The Seahawks, yes.
Yeah. We'll start Vikings-Bucks as 1 o'clock game, so we'll start there. The Vikings should have won the game. That wasn't even one of those, like, true... Like, to me, it wasn't even one of those, like, one-score games that they, like, barely snuck out last year. Like, they had... Kirk throws the horrible pick in the red zone.
Yep.
They really should have won the game. I kept the Bucks in as my loser for Loser Survivor, so I'm out of that. Salty about it. But Bucks defense looked good.
And Baker is so back.
I was going to ask you to want to take a victory lap.
That first down clip is awesome.
Yeah, it is. Get your weight up.
Yes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
it kind of went the way we thought it would go too. You know, it just ended up being Kirk making too many mistakes. You know, I think, but again, like the Browns, that's how the Bucs are going to do it. They're going to play good defense and they're going to run the ball, and that's going to be their bread and butter.
Sure.
And they also have 2 pretty good weapons on the outside. So,
and that's the other part of it is Baker doesn't have to do a ton. Kind of did what you're talking about in the preseason. Yeah. Baker doesn't have to do a ton with those weapons on the outside. Jefferson only having 2 catches in the second half seems bad.
Yeah.
If the Vikings' run game is really going to be that bad, it's going to be a really tough go for them.
Yeah.
They start, obviously, the week off here, week 2, Thursday Night Football in Philly. I think they got lost by 30 in Philly last year.
Yeah.
But they can't run the ball, and I think they're missing a offensive lineman this week. So,
yeah, I don't think it's an overreaction to say they're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, they're in trouble because I think for all Detroit's flaws, they look like pretty competent. Like they'll be floating at least around 500. And then we'll get to it later, but it looks like the Packers are moving up in the ranks.
Sure.
They're going to be way more competitive than maybe
I had a different takeaway from that game, but
well, we had the same take about that game. I've been all we'll get to it.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Other regression team, which we talked about in the preseason as well, Seahawks. Wow,
that was crazy though. I don't think anyone anticipated that.
Not like that, but I mean, I think we said it. Like the defense sort of played over their heads last year.
Yep.
They didn't play well. I mean, Puka, Nakua, and Tutu Outwell both go crazy against them.
Yeah, that's not good.
Not good. Stafford looked really good. I will say that he was dropping some dimes, like much better than I thought he would.
Yeah, a lot of people forget he had an elbow injury last year. You know, like he was not really Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
You know, and so him to come out, I felt really good for him.
I
felt
did too.
really good for him because he came out and he looked like old Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen him in Detroit, you know, upholding like not too great weapons all the time. You know, so maybe he does that again with the Rams.
Or maybe they are good weapons. They're both young,
potential,
and they're fast.
Yeah.
As long as they catch the ball, which they seem like they can do. I'm not saying that team's going to be like a contender or anything.
Yeah,
but they can win.
I think they played a little out of their minds. Like their offensive line is still bad, and they did not run the ball well.
No,
oh
my God, no.
And I don't anticipating that translating to success.
I agree.
They'll throw it better than they did last year, which will help.
And their defense played better than I think they're capable of. But that's part of like Geno's maybe incompetencies more than their defense.
Which is my main takeaway, honestly, is that Geno is Geno. He is Geno Smith.
Right.
And this is one of those games where he was Geno Smith. I still think the Seahawks can turn it around.
Sure.
I don't think this is like the end, but they have too many weapons on the offense to not be able to be like an upper tier offensive team. But this was not good. I mean, just the way they lost is like one of the ugliest of the week.
Like one of the worst second halves I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's really, especially in the NFC this year, where NFC teams only have 8 home games. To lose a home divisional game in week 1 is pretty tough.
Right.
But not going to overreact.
It's true.
They go to Detroit this week.
And I will take their spread.
I will be betting Seattle.
Yeah, me too. Definitely, I will be.
Fun stat I saw today. Teams that lost by double digits in week 1 are 61% against the spread in week 2.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think. Because the NFL's a week-to-week thing.
Like, it's the most up and down sport you'll ever see.
Right.
And week 1 overreactions are always the biggest. So, you know, Seahawks suck. Lions will beat the Chiefs. You know, you just go the other way with it.
Yeah.
5.5?
Yeah.
I saw it was 5.5. Yeah. I'll take it. I think Detroit wins by a field goal.
And I think Detroit might be a popular survivor pick.
Oh,
wait, I'm sorry. Nice. You guys are both on Detroit spread.
No, Seattle.
No, I'm on Seattle spread. Oh. I think Detroit wins, but I think Seattle covers.
Gotcha. I'm not touching it.
I think if Tony catches those 2 passes, the line is like 2.5.
Yeah, maybe like 3. Yeah, it's probably over 3 for home field. But yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
Great 6-point teaser candidate for Seahawks. 10.5, 11.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I had a nice little teaser this past week. No big deal.
They work. They work.
They are bad. The other regression team, it was Sunday Night Football. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but the Giants, that was embarrassing.
Yeah. It couldn't. I do think, though, if, they don't get the blocked field goal return.
I agree.
I think
that sounds
changed.
So stupid.
I know. It sounds so dumb, but, it's not like the Cowboys, did that much on offense. Dak didn't look amazing. They didn't throw the ball particularly
They got the ball to 30 every time.
Right.
Well, right, exactly. So I think their defense is legit.
Yes.
And like a lot of other teams, which is kind of why I like them in a weird way, is because they're going to play defense and they're going to try to run the ball as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
But they have Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, so they'll be able to throw the ball more effective than other teams that are primarily suited around their defense.
Yeah.
So
you'd think,
right? I don't think the Giants. I think the Giants miss the playoffs. I think they take a step back this year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the way it was that game. It's
no,
not always
they'll be competitive.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to take anything away from that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, because it got to a point where I was just like, the Giants left their starters in just to try to get momentum, and it was like, man, you got to take them out.
Yeah. I guess my big takeaway is Daniel Jones cannot handle adversity.
We knew that
because that was really bad.
He has the most scared-looking face when a blitzer is coming at him.
How sad.
I think their lack of weapons is going to hurt them.
Yeah,
too.
And like, Waller's already hurt. Like he's already nursing something.
It's
but that was their big.
Yeah.
All right, we got a true weapon.
We got you a guy. And,
speaking of those two teams, and I know we're bearing the lead on the biggest story of the NFL. We'll get to it right after this, but Geno and Daniel Jones put those teams in such awkward positions because they were were not prepared to pay those guys to be their future next year quarterback.
Yeah. And
they forced their way into it, which was good for them, but from the team's perspective, it was we know you're really not the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I fault the team, especially Seattle. Because at least with Jones, it's okay, well, has he really had any weapons since we've been here? He's had Saquon, but other than that, and he did okay. We won 11 games or so. But Geno Smith, going in with Geno Smith as your starting quarterback is almost, if it wasn't Pete Carroll, that coach probably would have been fired for even suggesting that. And they don't have a backup plan. Right. They still don't.
It's really interesting.
I don't know.
But yeah, we'll get to the biggest story, which was Monday night, and then we'll jump back to Sunday. Sorry. All over the place, but I have a lot to take. I texted them Sunday night. I was just I can't wait to talk about this stuff. But yeah, obviously the biggest story was Rodgers. He's done for the year. Sounds like he's coming back next year, or at least planning to at this point. The Jets win.
The Bills lost.
The Bills lost, which, wow. Zach Wilson's still bad.
Oh, yeah. He is so bad. They've got to do something.
There's just not much out there. Unless you go trade for Kyler and you don't know when he's going to be available.
Be awesome. We were talking about that on Sunday or Monday night. That is probably their best option.
Joe Flacco.
They could get Joe. the elite dragon, Joe Flacco.
And the thing that we talked about all offseason, right? We wanted to fade the Jets so bad. But it was just always but their defense.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the Jets fans because you look at the defense and you see the running game, and it's man, if only you had a quarterback, you could probably be a real contender.
I saw something, and it was on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and everything. It was a Jets fan, and he was like, "This is literally our best team we've ever assembled."
Yeah,
and I was like, "No, come on!" And then I thought about it, it is.
Yeah,
it's probably the best team they've ever assembled.
The defense is insane. Hall looked great. Cook looked
Hall looked great. They ran the ball pretty well.
I was so surprised.
Cook looked a little like he could have.
Yeah,
he could have used some training camp.
Yeah,
but everywhere else. Quentin Williams is unreal. That guy is crazy.
Yeah,
and it's sad.
Sauce got a little cooked.
He did. At one point, he was it was 6 for 6 against him for 65 yards. And also, he needs to switch sides of the field. If he wants to be the best corner in the league, he needs to cover the best receiver. Sorry,
Ramsey didn't do it.
I don't care because in crunch time, when the Bills were down 3 in regulation, they threw to Stephon Diggs 3 straight plays to get the field goal range.
I know,
and DJ Reed is good. I get it, but if you want to be that guy, I'm sorry, but you got to go cover Stephon Diggs. But yeah, like I said, I feel bad for the Jets fans. I think it's just going to look like last year, which sucks.
Right.
And we have to deal with them on primetime. Hopefully they get flexed a lot because I can't deal with Zach Wilson.
Yeah. They have to. That's crazy.
But they're going to win games on their 13-9.
Yeah, it's going to be super ugly, a lot like last year.
So that sucks. For all the hype that Rodgers had, just to go out like that.
Yeah, you never want that to happen.
Yeah.
We and also we never even got to see what he even looked like. It'll always be a what if.
Right.
And that stinks.
And Garrett Wilson making that catch,
oh my!
You just think about the season Garrett Wilson could have had, with Rodgers, and
because that's every throw. That back shoulder, that curl route. Yeah,
now,
that's every throw.
Do you think he comes back?
I do.
I think he does too. Yeah. At first, I was like, his career's done.
I thought so too, but I think
he's definitely going to come back.
He's going to come back.
He is not going to let it end like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that would put a damper on Monday night, but the punt return was awesome.
Exactly. That punt return was great.
That made up for the whole week.
That was crazy. That game was insane.
Josh Allen. Bad?
I think Josh Allen is sort of turning into like, I don't know how to say this without like coming off as crazy, but like a poor man's Carson Wentz. Like he just turns the ball over for
a rich man's Carson Wentz.
I guess Carson Wentz. Yeah. But he's not better at turning. That would be implying he's better at turning the ball over. Which I'm trying to say he's worse than turning the ball. Okay, rich man's.
Is he better than Carson Wentz or worse?
He is better than Carson Wentz,
but he's like Carson
but
Wentz.
not better at turning the ball over than Carson Wentz. So he's a poor man's turnovering Carson Wentz.
So he turns the ball over more than Carson Wentz?
No, he's saying he turns less.
So if the league was based on how good you are at turning the ball over,
he would be worse than Carson Wentz, which is what I'm trying to imply.
But which makes him better, and he's already a better quarterback. So it's a bad comparison. He's Brett Favre with legs.
No, but he's not as good as Brett Favre.
No.
Okay, he's a poor man's Brett Favre with legs.
He's a rich man's Chris Streveler. Okay,
he's a yes, absolutely. I mean,
no, I don't think he's bad.
I don't think he's bad. Yes.
I think it was a terrible situation for him.
And sort of like we talk about the Browns and Bengals, the Jets, last year they played Allen very well. Again, the defense seems to have his number. But it was he can't keep doing this.
Yeah, like
that's the thing.
It's a recurring theme of him turning the ball over like that,
and in like dumb situations, because like they could have legitimately taken knees and punted and won the game.
Right,
it's true.
Yeah,
and I saw. Did you see that? Who was it that said the whole debate on if they should kick or not defer? That's kind of crazy.
Oh
they should defer in overtime?
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe.
Thinking back, hindsight's 2020. You obviously want the ball to like have it on your own terms, but Zach Wilson's probably not going 80 yards and scoring on you.
No.
Like if they get a field goal, whatever.
Right.
I guess Brees Hall could break one.
I guess the only issue with the overtime rules is if you get the ball first, you have the potential to get 2 possessions. You probably only get 1 if you get the ball second, and then you end in a tie. But yeah, like if you think that through, you probably just kick the ball to the back of the end zone. You probably get off the field on defense, and then you go win the game on offense. But they went 3 and out. It looked bad. I mean, I think it started right with a false start, and then they never recovered. So, I do think we might see a little bit of the public shift on the Bills and Josh Allen. I think that was sort of the last straw for a lot of people with like regarding him as like a top 3, regarding the Bills as like a Super Bowl favorite. And I'm not going that far to say that, but I do think the public perception has flipped a little bit, which might help.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But off that point, buy or sell the AFC East is the Dolphins to lose.
Sell.
Buy. Because I was in on the Dolphins from the beginning. You know that.
Yeah, you were. But no, I just think the Chargers are of course that game happens to the Chargers.
The Chargers are going to charge
to them. Right, exactly. So, and I couldn't believe it. They missed the extra point.
It's like, oh my God.
Herbert, you're going to do it. You're finally going to do it. Yep. And of course they don't.
That game was more for me. They're both legit. The Chargers and the Dolphins are both pretty legit.
I had a question about that. Would you, after week 1, would you rather be the Chargers or the Browns?
The Browns. I'd rather be the Browns, especially with the way your division looked. So you just beat the crap out of your best team. The Steelers got pummeled. Not saying they're going to do that every week.
Right.
And then the Ravens, the Ravens are, in 1 week, their stock has gone pretty down.
Yeah.
So, but with the Chargers, you're in the division with the Chiefs. You lost the division. The Raiders, who even knows? I kind of think they cover this week against the Bills. The Raiders still have time to, they have a lot of weapons there.
I think they'll be fine.
And then Denver, for all the crap we give Denver, they lost that game. That's incredibly lost that game. But they have a great defense.
They're kind of like crap.
Right, well, yeah. But they have a good defense. They have a really good defense. They're like the Jets. So I think they're in a better division. The Chargers.
I get that part of it. My thinking, and the reason I compared those 2 teams was like, okay, the Browns go out and they kind of win convincingly, like you said, against your top division opponent. But you kind of know that you really don't have the quarterback to like go out and like like do a ton maybe. Whereas the Chargers, it's like, okay, we can be really good. Like we got to like shore up some things, but there's a glimmer of like, all right, like we can do this. And maybe it was more Miami's defense, missing Ramsey and the defense not being great. But, there's a glimmer of hope of like, all right, like we looked like the second best offense this week. So,
there's a lot of returners on that team, right? On the Chargers. And if I were them, I'd be like, it's the same old stuff.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it is.
It is.
It's the same old stuff. Like they
find ways to lose. I mean, before the half. And credit to the Dolphins, credit to Mike McDaniels for going down and trying to score with getting the ball back with 9 seconds. But you throw a Hail Mary 30 yards short of the end zone. What are you doing near the ball?
Yeah.
And they commit the pass interference and they give up a field goal. Oh, and by the way, they won by 2 points.
Right.
So, they just do things that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then the Dolphins just came with blitzes at Herbert in the last drive, and he had no chance. But that was a fun game. At least that was the best game of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely
fun.
But
Mike Williams hurt.
But that's the other thing, right? We talked about the only time you're going to get the Chargers fully healthy is week 1. Eckler looks hurt. Mike Williams went out, and then we came back in. But
I don't know. They're so talented. That's just like
again,
and it's the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are a playoff team. I think they're pretty good. But it's just one of those things. Like you'd like to see the Chargers win these games.
Absolutely. Yeah, they had every opportunity to do it.
Those dirty Dolphins.
Tyreek looked awesome.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, geez, he's incredible. Hall of Famer?
Not yet.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
It's kind of in the class of his own that he plays.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's probably, besides like Antonio Brown, Devontae Adams, probably the best receiver.
Maybe.
I think so.
All right.
Which is
still not yet.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Not there yet. Okay. You mentioned that the Niners look great. Pummel Steelers. Steelers never really had a chance from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
I guess all the preseason hype about the offense went right out the window. You mentioned it in the preseason, Ben, but Matt Canada is really bad.
He's got to go. And now Deontay's hurt. Oh, man.
Yeah,
because Deontay's hurt. Bring it up.
How hurt is he?
He's out for like 4 weeks.
Ooh. Not good.
So
and is Pickett good?
And Freiermuth got hurt a little bit.
Yeah, he did. He left, and I think he came back.
Ouch.
Freiermuth's fine. Like I don't think he's a game changer.
Yeah, he's a solid starting tight end.
He's like a 2005 tight end.
Yeah, he's Heath Miller reincarnated.
But man, I saw it was like 4th and 8 from the goal line, I guess, or like 4th and goal from the 8, and they ran 4 verticals. Like I know I'm not one that grinds the tape. Like I don't understand like all the philosophies, but it looks so bad.
Yeah,
and coming from a Ravens fan who like dealt with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like under Roman's system, it was like looking at it was like PTSD. But that was bad. Niners obviously look legit, which we expect them to against lesser opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense was incredible. Purdy made some good plays. I'll give him that. Made some good throws.
He was pretty good. Brandon Ayuk, maybe he's pretty good.
Ayuk is great.
Yeah.
McCaffrey's great.
They're just so talented.
They're really good.
I didn't expect them to win the way they did, though. Definitely didn't expect.
I thought Pittsburgh would put up more of a fight.
Yes,
but they didn't.
I do think Pittsburgh bounces back, though.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-oh.
What's with the cup?
What?
Got a Stanley there?
That is a big cup.
And it's great for hydration. Okay.
It's a massive
The past 3 days, I've switched over to the Stanley. Did I steal it from my wife? Maybe. Maybe it was Megan's. But yeah, you should try it. You got Stanley?
I have a Gatorade bottle.
Oh, big man. Does it have your name on it?
No.
Oh, wow.
That has your name on it?
No. It's Olay. I got for free.
That's the woman's face. I didn't see the Olay part of it. I was like, what's going on there? Anyway, Steelers didn't look good. Niners look great. Rookie quarterbacks. I think Anthony Richardson looked the best.
Yeah.
I thought, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, he's fine though.
He came back.
He's playing.
He's
going to play.
Today.
Okay.
They had a real chance to win that game. He did make a bad mistake late in the game. So, take the bad with the good, but looked a little sharper than I thought he would.
Yeah. They got the receivers more involved than I thought they would.
Pittman with really almost 100 yards was pretty impressive to me. Yeah, I know.
Season long.
Kylan Granson had 5 catches.
Yeah.
But I thought Bryce Young early in the game moved the ball. I even mentioned it. I was like, man, he's moving the ball. But then all of a sudden they did nothing.
Collapsed.
And Stroud, like we talked about, just really had nothing to work with.
Although I'll give him credit. He looked better than I thought he would. And it might be because our corners aren't very good. Yeah. But he drove the ball downfield more than I thought he would.
Yeah. I think from the Texans side, they never really had a chance in this game against the Ravens. But give them a month or two. D'Amico Ryans going to have that defense humming, I think. Some of the scheme stuff they did I thought was really interesting and good.
They made Lamar look really bad.
Yeah.
They did.
So I think their defense might be decent, and if Stroud progresses, I think their weapons are okay. I like Nico Collins.
I didn't, but he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good.
So give them a little time. I don't think they're going to be horrendous.
Right.
The Panthers are in a really bad spot because receivers are already hurt. It's going to take some time for Young to get to where he got to get for them to win games, and especially with no help, it's not going to be good.
Right.
And they don't own their first round pick. So
ouch.
That's it. All of a sudden, that's a pretty tough situation. I know I hyped them up this offseason, but maybe it has more to do with the Falcons just running the air out of the ball and them not getting enough possessions.
Yeah.
I hate the Falcons, man. Can we just talk? I don't.
I almost did a whole video on this on the Falcons. I think they're the biggest. They're going to be the most overhyped Week 1 team by their fan base for getting that win. But I think they're so bad.
They are lunatics. I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand. If this is your philosophy, that's fine, right? If you want to run the ball, you want to play defense. I get it. That's how you want to win games because you want to cover up your quarterback currently, which I don't think Ritter's very good. Why did you draft Pitts in London? If you want to do this, go get big beefy offensive linemen. Go get a tight end. Pitts. Sorry, but more of a blocking tight end. Go get help for your defense. Drafting Pitts at 5-4 overall was kind of negligent. And it's probably just more aggravating because we want to see what he looks like in a real offense.
That's true.
But it's so annoying.
The only thing I can think of is that Arthur Smith is trying to really set up the run game so that later down the line it sets up real big play action plays and stuff like that. But I mean, getting Drake London only having one target is just that there's just that's not winning formula.
No,
you give the ball to your skill position players.
Bijan looked great and Algier looked great, and they're going to run the ball a ton. It's just it's rather annoying.
What's the thing? I wouldn't freak out. I know we made a post and it went viral about the fantasy owners of Algier and whatever Kyle Pitts. Anyway, I wouldn't freak out because Bryce Young did throw 2 picks in their own territory. It kind of set up to where it's a game where they didn't have to throw.
Right.
So I get the whole not wanting to lose the game by throwing mentality.
Sure. Right. No, I understand. But that's
we'll see next week.
Who do they play?
The Packers.
That's right.
They get the Packers. And they're probably going to have to throw the ball.
Sorry, not shootout. It's got pushed to them playing like it's a shootout.
Yes.
We'll get to that. I mean, we can talk about it right now. The Packers, Bears. Yeah.
I'm pretty... Okay, so let's first... The real story of this is that Justin Fields is bad. And I think the Bears are in for... I don't think it's an I don't think it's an overreaction. They're going to have a rough offensive year. They just look like they are not going to move forward. Justin Fields. And you know how I feel about it. I've been pretty opinionated about Justin Fields.
I'm a big Justin Fields guy.
He screwed us.
Yeah.
Big Justin Fields guy. He didn't look good.
Oh, he looks so good rushing, though.
But
I get it.
But they did not call any designed runs.
No.
That's right.
And that does not help it. I will never understand, and every team does this, when they get a quarterback that runs, they go through the offseason and they're like, guess what? We're going to make him a pocket pass.
Yeah.
And it's what? You can move the ball so much easier if you involve the quarterback running game. And all of a sudden, things open up. Now, I saw some videos, right? He definitely was a little trigger shy. He did not fire on some open throws. I understand he did not look good throwing the ball. I also would say they did not set him up very well.
That is fair.
And their offensive line is really bad.
Yes. Well, that's also the story too. Is that the Bears are just not very talented,
And their defense is really
their
bad.
Defense is
they
not
might be
good.
the worst team in the league again.
Yeah, and I think, but I don't see it getting any better. I think Justin Fields is in this trap of his team is down by so many points that he plays hero ball. He makes like 1 or 2 or 3 really good plays, and everyone is like, "This guy's really good."
Yeah.
But throughout the game, when it's competitive, he's just not there. It's not great.
It's very interesting because that game was competitive the whole first half, and it was like, hey, like we've got a game, and then all of a sudden, man. And credit Jordan Love, he looked pretty good. He also missed some throws.
He did, yeah.
Not going to let him off scot free
for the game is like 52. It wasn't very impressive.
But I mean, the run game looked really good. I think the Bears defense is just really bad.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, Jordan Love is great." The Bears or the Packers. Here's the new saga. I'm not ready to say that. I think he looked really good. I think he did what we thought like Sam Howell would do this year or this week.
Yeah.
But I think it's really more about just the Bears aren't there. They're just not there. And I think this is it stinks for them because this is a crucial year for them.
It is.
If they're going to show anything, it's got to be this year. But I don't see it ending very well.
And it looks bad on Eberflus. He's a defensive guy. Their defense really should be better.
Yep.
I feel bad for Bears fans because you have some electric players, and it sounds like they might be benching Claypool this week. If you saw some clips of him, it looked like that is fireable. I mean, trading the 32nd pick, and I know they thought maybe it was like the 36th. I don't care.
Right.
Trading your second round pick.
That was
for
bad.
That guy,
the minute they did it. I mean, that was a higher pick than they gave up than we gave them for Patrick Queen.
For Roquan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you know what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's terrible, man.
Everyone thought it was going to be the Ravens pick. And when they said second round pick, they're like, "Oh, we sent the Ravens pick over to the Steelers." Okay, that's not so bad. And I was like, "No, it's our own." It's like
you guys are
what?
Yeah, man, that was
for Chase Claypool. Would you even draft him 32nd if he was in this year's class? Like,
I can't believe it. That was bad.
Bad. So. Bad vibes in Chicago,
and they do play the Bucks this week.
Yeah, I like the Bucks minus 2.5, but that's gonna be so public.
Is it 2.5?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 3. I will definitely be taking that now.
And I'm sure all the money's on the Bucks, which tells you something.
Yeah.
I just don't see, like right now, like you said, I just don't see it.
I don't see it with the Bears.
And the Bucks defense look good. So, other bad quarterbacks, Ryan Tannehill. We're doing this again.
Yeah,
that was bad. They should have won that game. Shout out to Saints, though, keeping the undefeated season alive. Shout out Derek Carr.
I was about to give him credit. He threw 300 yards.
Yeah.
He was one of the very few quarterbacks to do that this weekend. So.
And in our clip, that was awesome.
And in
Rashid
Shaheed.
Rashid Shaheed.
Because they didn't run the ball well at all.
No.
So Derek Carr had a lot on his shoulders, and Tannehill missed a ton of throws. Hey, if he's going to miss that many throws, it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
But I think better days are ahead there. My big takeaway from, like, all of week 1 being bad was like maybe play your starters a little bit in preseason. Like, and the Steelers did, and they look bad. So like, it's not a total like one size fits all type thing. But Sirianni and I think Harbaugh even like sort of like mentioned it in their post games. Where like, we might do some stuff differently next year. It's like there are some teams that were just really out of sync. Like, and we didn't even get to the Eagles Patriots, but the Patriots really should have won.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, without they spotted them 16 points.
They did, right, exactly.
So like there are some teams that were really out of sync, and like it's like you wonder why. It's like, well, these guys haven't played real football in over 6 months. In Lamar's case, it's been almost a full year, right? Yeah. So from that perspective, it's like, man, I hope next year's a little bit different. Let's get these guys on the field a little bit. I know you don't want to get guys hurt, but guess what? Week 1 was everyone getting hurt anyway. Yeah. So like, what does it matter?
I'm curious though. Like teams like us and like that have that easy matchup. Maybe they look ahead and like, oh,
I agree.
That is our true other preseason.
I think the Ravens did that this year and last year because they played the Jets last year and before the Jets.
The Eagles probably did it too. I hate to say it, but they might have done it too.
Maybe. Or just knowing it was out of conference, they don't need it necessarily. So like maybe.
Yeah.
But
like teams like the Raiders, I think they need it to. Like that's crazy to me when there's teams like that. New quarterback coming in.
Yep.
New whole system. Like
and that's right. And, yep. I completely agree. And maybe it's like being able to practice longer, practice harder, or hit more in practice. Maybe that's what they were hinting at. But like just you have 3 preseason games scheduled. Like they give you an opportunity to go out there and play a little bit. Like, I don't know.
I guess it is still new too, because it was always the third preseason
Right.
game.
Yeah,
You're
was
playing,
right.
and then the fourth game was to make cuts. But now it's like, what do you do?
It is tough. It makes it tough because you want to see the end of your roster, but like,
Yeah.
From the Ravens' perspective, they play all 3 of their road divisional games the next 4 weeks. So it's like, I get you had an easy week 1, but you better start shaping up because you lose 2 or 3 or all 3, it's like you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Ravens Bengals this week should be fun, or it could suck because both of them look bad. But
yeah.
But that's been a fun game for the last few years. New rivalry sort of forming or reforming, I guess. Anything I missed from this week?
Well, I mean, Patriots Eagles. I guess we could talk about.
I mean, Mac looked better than I thought, but he's still.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are pretty well coached.
I think
the defense.
They should not have been playing Keyshawn Booty and throwing to him in their biggest spot.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Good catch. He almost got the foot down.
I see it. Like he always had promise in college, but
yeah, that's fair. Also, the Eagles. You worried about them letting them come back in like that?
I think it was just, and they got pretty injured too.
Yeah.
They're going to be missing 2 back 4 players for this game against the Vikings. So like, I'm not. I think it was just sort of circumstantial.
Yeah.
We didn't really touch on the Commanders. I know we laughed at for a second, but like, but I mean, it's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, what? Yeah, I'm glad they won Survivor.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. Well, that's what I think. I don't think it's an overreaction to say that their offense is going to be like meh.
Yeah.
I know it was 1 game. I know it's his first career start. Well, no, second.
He started last year.
Yeah. But I just
they're playing the I don't know. The Cardinals are really bad.
I guess playing down their competition.
Yeah, and they had a lot playing at home with all this local hype. I know not national hype, but because of the new ownership group and all that kind of stuff. There's a refound interest in the Commanders, so that might have played a factor. And knowing that going into a game where you're supposed to win is always tough as a team that hasn't really been there yet. So I don't take a lot away from it. They'll be fine. 500 team, whatever.
Yeah.
Cardinals are gonna be bad. They're really sad.
Played better than I thought, but
I guess they just had so many opportunities to put the game away, and
you can just tell the talent is not there.
Yeah, and I don't think they want it to be.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So, we can get into this week a little bit. Slate is okay. We can talk some Survivor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah, so we've had an interesting debate in house about what people should be doing this week. So obviously the Cowboys, they're a really strong pick going up against the Jets, but again,
I think that game is gonna be sweatier than you think.
Yeah.
I still think the Cowboys win, but
right. I mean, the Jets can beat anyone. We just saw them beat the Bills. They can definitely beat the Cowboys. And then I know that a lot of people are going to be on the Bills because they play the Raiders. I think that game is going to be sweatier than people think.
Maybe.
All these games are.
This week's tough. I think the Bills have to prove something.
Yeah.
It sucks that it's a short week.
Honestly, I thought this past week was going to be that game for them. I thought they'd come out, beat the Jets, the overhyped Jets, and then
I think something happens to your mentality when the starter goes down, which it shouldn't. So I'm not trying to defend them necessarily,
right?
But all of a sudden you're up 2 scores and you're facing Zach Wilson. I think they were probably all right, yeah. I don't. I think the Bills win.
They should win that game.
They should.
I think the Cowboys win. I see the perks taking the Giants, but
that's a scary spot for the Giants.
They go west. It's a full flight out west.
I will say I'm going to be taking the Giants, my personal one.
I might too.
I think
I will too.
If you hit them and if they win, it's the perfect spot.
It is. Yeah. Well, I saw something. This is the only time they'll be favored for the rest of the season.
Yeah. That's what I said in the chat. It's the only game you're ever going to want to take.
Right. I think in Survivors where you have to make it to the end, they're probably the right pick. I think in Survivors where you get paid out after a certain amount of people get eliminated, maybe just go Bills or Cowboys.
That's fair. It just stinks getting out week 2. Never been there, but
I was out week 1 last year. I mean, I've already made it farther, so
yeah, it's a tough one. I don't hate the Eagles, but I don't think you should burn them.
I'm not touching the
Nah,
Eagles.
just Thursday night.
I
It's
love
pointless.
loser survivor. I'm taking the Vikings. I love
I
the
think that
Vikings.
makes sense. I do think that makes sense.
But and then what was it? What's the other one? There's another really good play.
There is another one, and I can't remember.
San Francisco. San Francisco's at LA.
Yeah, I'm just not touching. That's the only thing about the Giants is it's week 2. Are we really doing road teams for Survivor?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really I question.
Yeah. It's just every other team is a good one. It's
Yeah.
one you'd like to hold on to.
I understand. I get it. I do.
So I don't know. You could do Bucks against the Bears.
You could.
Ayo!
I actually thought about it.
I don't mind that.
It's a little dicey.
Well, like you said, with the heavy money on the Bucks, probably.
The whole thing scares me. That game feels like the spread should be like 4 or 5, and then it's like 2.5, and it's like, are they really the Bucks like really that good? And,
Saints against the Panthers.
I know.
That's not a
they're
bad
in
one.
Carolina though.
Yeah,
right?
you get him in a better spot later.
Yeah,
It's fair.
But then again, you have Bryce Young when he's more experienced later.
Right.
So.
yeah. Home opener. I mean, that's the thing with week 2. It's a lot of teams home openers.
Yep.
So like any team on the road is going to be facing the biggest crowd that team might have all year.
I hope people take the Niners. I actually think the Rams could win that.
Yeah.
I think that's sneaky.
I don't, but I hope they do.
Then I can say about all these teams. I can see the Raiders winning.
Yeah.
It's low-key like the Packers. I said that too. I low-key like the
Packers?
Packers.
Oh,
Who do they have?
Falcons.
The Falcons.
They're on the road,
They're
though.
in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, it's like a pick 'em.
I think they're -1 last time I saw. But if I had to choose a heavy favorite, it'd be the Bills.
I
I
would
just get the
agree.
Bills because I think there's a slim chance that the Bills will really fall off this year. Go like a wild card team, like 9-7, like not as good
Yeah.
as advertised.
I
so
agree.
get them out the way; they'll win this game. But what's another one? You guys probably disagree, but Denver. I think Denver beats the Commies this week. They're at home.
They might. I'm just not. I can't. I can't trust them.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Because oh my god, that game's gonna be so low scoring. Like
Yeah,
you're
it's
never
gonna
gonna feel good about it.
It'll be like 1917 Broncos.
and
yeah.
part of like I like to bet. I like to place random bets on random games. I really don't like sweating Survivor. Like if I can get an easy Survivor win and not have to worry about that game,
That's
it's a lot better for my mental health. So yeah, taking Denver. I understand what you're saying. It makes some sense, but no, thank you.
Okay.
My point, like about taking heavy favorites now, is I think every week of the season, even if you get to week 17, you're always going to have a Denver versus Commanders where you're like, I know I have to do it now, but I feel okay. Like,
Yeah,
like why try to get tricky?
I guess the way I look at it is just like down. And here's the other thing is like both of these lines of thought are totally correct in my opinion.
Mm.
They are both applicable. Like in week 13, let's say you have the slate we have now, but you've used Buffalo, San Francisco, and the Cowboys. Like, what do? You know?
Right. But
like, you know,
but
why choose the Giants then when you could just do it now, get away with it, and then use the Bills? Because if you have the Bills, then you're way more likely to win the pool.
Sure, but to my point of view is okay. I'm in week 13 now. I have to do it, but I still feel okay. Like if I'm doing it in week 2,
Yeah,
I'm fine to do it in week 13. You know, Survivor could be over by then. Like it probably won't be, but it could be over.
yeah.
And like Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, so like a new spot pops up where
That's
like
fair.
something random happens, and all of a sudden you have a team that you didn't expect to be able to use.
That's right. Like the Cowboys were that team this week.
Mm.
But then also going against the Cardinals isn't that a spot that's going to change eventually too?
Could be.
I
With-
mean,
with Kyler,
Yeah.
potentially. I lean Giants. I'm probably going to go there in my personal one that goes the full season.
Yeah.
In the one that you get paid event like earlier, I'll probably do the Bills.
I know.
Yeah.
For our group one, I'll probably just stop talking and let you guys decide. I don't know.
No, I mean, we'll just do a vote, you know, and I think we should.
I don't know what's right.
Right. Yeah. It should be like a double-sided, or double-spotted vote too. So like, because it seemed like I was the one really advocating for the Giants, but nobody else was on board. So we should do a vote where they aren't the option.
Okay.
Right. Like that's why I said I was like, oh, I'll take the Bills if we had you have heavy
Yeah.
favorite. You know. So
I was on board with the Giants.
okay, Giants it is.
The later the week has gone, I got more on board with the Giants.
Yeah, I think they win that game. I think their defense is going to play better. I think their offense is going to.
I think they have to.
But also, if the Cardinals are going to win a game, it's probably.
Yeah. 100%.
But I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either.
No way.
Wink will dial some stuff up against Josh Dobbs, I think, and make him uncomfortable. But
I'm out.
anyway, anything else in week 2 that we should mention?
Let's get some touchdowns.
Yeah, man. Like let's see some offense. Let's see some better weather. Although I think Hurricane Lee is going to hit like Saturday or Sunday. So anywhere in the New England region, Buffalo might be home. They are. That those games might be affected by weather. So
Atlanta, but they're in a dome.
They're in a dome.
And so are the Lions. So we might be okay.
It's really just like
Philly.
It's probably just New England. Well, they're Thursday.
That's right.
And there's a lot of West Coast.
Yeah, so maybe it won't be so bad. Check on that for college betting though. High winds mean low scores. Not necessarily the rain and the cold weather. Go by the winds more than the rain. High winds is really bad for college, especially kickers. So keep an eye on the Hurricane. Be safe out there. We will talk to you next week after hopefully a better slate of football. See you guys.